What's going on, guys? Welcome to Craig Thomas TV. Today on the Craig Thomas Show, we got Freddie Bass. I met him through my podcast with Little Brows. He's based in LA. He has his own podcast, The Common Peril. And yeah, I have not chatted with him, so this Zoom call is the first time I've ever talked to him. He works in the recovery industry. He is in recovery himself, and it was just a great chat, man. It was really cool getting to know him. And yeah, without further ado, let's jump into it. Yeah, man. So how do you pronounce your last name? Is it Bass or Bass?
Yeah, Bass.
Bass. Cool.
Yeah.
Um,
You're up in Canada, right?
yeah, man. I'm in Victoria, BC.
Nice. No clue where that's at, but I'm sure it's maybe cold up there.
Yeah, it's probably, well, we're in Celsius, right? So it's about 5 degrees today. So
Oh shit.
I don't
Wow.
know what that is in Fahrenheit, but yeah, it's cold.
Okay.
It's cold.
Yeah, probably like 40 something, 30 something maybe.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I don't know Fahrenheit at all, so I have no
Yeah,
idea.
I don't know Celsius at all.
Yeah, fair. It's cold though. It's cold, like jacket weather. Yeah. Where are you
Yeah.
at?
So I'm in LA. I'm like right near Los Angeles Airport. Have you ever been to the States? Have you ever been down here?
Oh yeah. I've been to all through California. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay, yeah. So I'm right near LAX. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
Westchester. Yeah.
Okay. I sort of know where that is. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a cool
Yeah.
spot.
Yeah, it's a cool
Um,
little spot, man.
yeah. So what are you doing with so you got a podcast, right? Common Peril.
Yeah, Common Peril. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's mainly a recovery podcast. My boy Evan's the one that actually started it. And then I was one of the first episodes, like a guest speaker that they had. And then like a few months into it, I became like one of their like full-time hosts. And then we had 4 people on the podcast at first. Then one by one, people started to fall. And then me and Evan had been kind of like, lack of better terms, half-assing it and like, trying to keep it afloat. And then we'll fucking, we'll miss weeks and we'll get weeks back on. But now I'm kind of involved more and I'm getting more guests and more speakers that have like, some following on Instagram and,
Nice.
stuff like that to kind of rev it back up a little bit.
Nice. What's your story with that? Like, have you been through recovery then yourself, or?
Yeah. So I've been through recovery myself. I got clean originally 8 years ago. I came from Florida. So I'm originally from Florida.
Oh yeah, I've never been to Florida, but yeah.
Oh, it's nice down there, man. It's humid, but it's nice. So I came out here and then, I've been out here ever since.
Oh, that's cool, man. Yeah, Florida's got or up in Canada here, like there's always like Florida's got like this crazy kind of vibe to it from like an outside point of view. It's always like, yeah, the craziest stuff happens in Florida. Like,
It does.
Things Florida people do and stuff like that, right? Like,
Oh, I know. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, Austin. He was when we were doing. We toured Texas, then we were touring Florida next.
Mhm.
He had a show. He was supposed to have a show out there, and I met him in my hometown, Tampa, and we were just, parties going on. And he's like, "You guys get down out here." I'm like, "Yeah, we do."
Yeah, I'd love to go though. It looks beautiful.
Yeah, it's amazing
Yeah,
down there. It's awesome.
I think like Andrew Schultz and them just moved their studio down there. Do you watch Flagrant 2, that podcast at all?
No, I don't watch that one.
okay,
Yeah, I watch King of the Sting once in a while.
Of course.
a lot of Theo Von stuff, and
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Joe Rogan. That's the
Yeah.
the OG of it.
Yeah. So on your Instagram, it says you're doing like motivational speaking, stuff like that. Like, what are you doing with that? How is?
Yeah, so I kind of just put that on there. Everybody says I kind of
fair.
like I was just like, that sounds about me. I listen to a lot of Tony Robbins and Grant Cardone guys, so I kind of like just I was doing admissions for a while for a treatment center, so that was kind of like my thing, was like I always motivated people to do more with their life, and I saw it as kind of like selling them success, of a better life. So that's how I kind of fell into that. But I'm like I'm a chief marketing officer now for a rehab.
Oh,
so
cool.
I oversee all their marketing, digital, boots on the ground, all that good stuff. So I actually work with Austin.
Oh,
So,
cool.
Yeah.
So do you want to dive into like any of your recovery, any of your story, just for people who don't know? Like,
Yeah. So I originally got clean and sober, back in 2013. So I had 2 daughters at a young age.
okay.
And then,
How old are you? Sorry.
I'm 26 now.
26. Okay.
Yeah. So I had my first daughter when I was 15, and then my second daughter when I was 17. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Both with the same girl, or?
Yeah. Same girl. Yeah. We're no longer together. We were kids, but we have a great relationship now. And Yeah, man, it was crazy. It was definitely, a little wild and just, it was nuts.
So
It
you have
was,
an 11-year-old right now.
yeah, she's gonna be
At
11 this year.
wow,
Yeah, which is crazy to think about,
that makes you grow up quick, you
Oh
know?
yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah. Grew
yeah,
up super quick, and it was just, yeah, a lot of trials and tribulations, and ups and downs. I was a kid, I was a baby having babies, so
yeah.
yeah. So I ended up, getting some felonies and some shit down in Florida. And then I came to treatment out here. Kind of my rock bottom back home when I was in Florida. I was um, Father's Day 2013. I overdosed,
Oh wow.
fell out breathing. I said I wanted to kill myself. They put me in a mental hospital for a week, and then you know, just I flew to California as soon as I got out, essentially, and then I've been out here for 8 years, going on 8 years out here.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you've since that overdose, you've been clean since that point, or how was that struggle? Like, I know it's
Yeah. So I went to treatment first. I relapsed a few times, got clean and sober again, going through treatment again in
mm,
California. And then I ended up staying clean for about 3 years, decided to drink a few times.
yeah.
Nothing bad happened or anything like that, but I definitely, I was still working in the treatment industry. So I felt like guilt and shame. And I
Oh
was like,
man, yeah.
I don't want this anymore. I woke up with a hangover one day and I was like, I'm just going to stop. So I stopped. It was nothing
Nothing
too
crazy.
extreme or, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I
that's
got fortunate.
yeah, it's funny. Like a bit of my story. I had a real bad gambling addiction actually, which
Mm,
is a whole different beast. And it was
yeah.
yeah, it was wild. It's wild when you get in those whatever you want to call it, that mindset where you're just living this crazy life and everything's a
Mhm.
blur, right? Like you're not, until you hit that rock bottom or multiple rock bottoms and then you look back at everything, it's really
Yep.
hard in the moment to see like how fucked up you are. Like, you know what
Oh
I mean?
yeah.
I
And
look
the
at myself and I was like,
destruction.
I was fucked up. Like, and I'm a pretty normal, successful guy. And it's, I got lucky, I guess, right? That I ended up just
Yeah.
getting some help and through GA and stuff like that. But
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, cool. I didn't
yeah,
know that. That's awesome.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's a wild thing. Addictions are a wild thing. There's lots of different types, and
Yeah. No matter if it's gambling, sex, addiction, video games,
yeah.
I think I'm on a 30-day blackout from gambling right now.
Oh
So
yeah,
I
yeah.
can't gamble for 30 days. So I get the gambling addiction. I'm not that hardcore, but
Mhm.
my boy looked at me, he's like, you gamble on everything. Yeah, let's take 30 days off. I was like, all right,
Yeah, yeah. Gambling can get wild. Gambling's a slow burn though. It's a real slow incline until it gets really bad. So,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah. A hundred
and
percent, 100%. Yeah, I think anybody and everybody's, has some type of addiction or some
mhm.
type of crutch that they use.
Yeah,
Um, even if it's like codependency or just love or, whatever that looks
yeah.
like for each individual. I think everybody kind of struggles with something. They just don't know how to deal with it.
So do you find this is for me personally, because I have that addictive personality. So anything I do, I just really got into the YouTube and the podcast world, and I dive in like 100%, like sometimes almost unhealthy amounts, right? Like, do you find that with
Mhm.
yourself that with everything, every aspect in your life, you really go in, or is it just,
Oh yeah,
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 yeah, 100%. Yeah, I in anything and everything that I do. Sorry about that.
it's all good. Yeah.
Yeah, anything and everything that I do, if I'm going to take boxing classes, I'm going to go hard at that and buy all the boxing equipment and this and that. And
Yeah.
I even try to like pick up like biking, and I bought like this really expensive bicycle, and
Yeah.
I've used it like 3 times.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think it's like anything like that. Like even I just bought a PS5, and like I literally got a gaming monitor and set up a whole entire desk, and like I have like all my headset and gear and stuff right here. So it's just,
Yeah.
I think anything and anything that I try to get into, I'm always like going hard at first and it
Yeah.
dies out over time.
Yeah, I think that's common with addicts or like recovering addicts. It can be a good thing because you can be really motivated, right? Like
100%.
you can take a lot
Yeah.
of positives from that. However, like an addict's brain is wired, there's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
positives if you can just push that in the right direction.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all
Stay on
about
path.
intention and
Yeah.
which direction you head.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
do your kids live in Florida then, or?
So they were living out there with my ex for a while, and then they actually recently just moved up to Oregon.
Oh,
So
okay. Yeah.
they're at least they're on the same coast as me now.
That's way better. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, way better. So it's good. I FaceTime them, call them every single day, and they're coming down here for a couple months in the middle of this year. So I'm excited.
Nice.
I was just in Florida with them a few weeks ago, so
Nice.
I see them every few months, which is awesome.
Probably tough this year with COVID, I'm guessing, to make all
Yeah,
that. But I guess like state to state traveling, is that not a big deal for you guys?
yeah, I haven't had any trouble with it. Actually, last year was the year that I traveled the most in my life.
Right.
Which is crazy to think about, but I was like all over the place. I was in Denver and New York and I mean everywhere. So it's just crazy how it all, I haven't been too worried about it.
Right.
I'm like, if I haven't caught it yet.
You haven't caught it,
yeah. Yeah. I'm like,
I
should
live,
be all right.
So do you know where Vancouver is? Are you familiar with Vancouver? It's right above Seattle. So right above Seattle.
Okay, so you're on the same time zone, same same coast almost.
Yeah, so maybe like a 3-4 hour flight from you, I guess. Not too far, but yeah.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
Yeah,
that's not bad at all.
I'm sorry, my phone's going off here. But COVID for like in BC in general, it's been pretty mild. Like I don't know anyone who's had it.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
No, I don't know anyone who's had it, and I live on like an island outside of Vancouver with about 1 million people.
Oh, amazing. Okay.
And like I think there's like 20 cases a day on the island. So I mean it's nothing really.
Nothing. Yeah. Very small numbers. It's crazy how that I don't know. I'm I've heard a lot of my friends are conspiracy theorists and this and that, but who knows what's real, what isn't,
Yeah, I think it's real, obviously, but I mean it's I think I'm just lucky personally where I live that it wasn't bad, but
yeah,
I know like I don't know where's the worst in the States right now. I guess like New York was really bad.
Yeah, New York was bad.
Florida even LA was bad, right? Yeah.
Well, yeah, LA was like a hot spot for a minute. I haven't been keeping up with the news on it. My dad calls me from Florida. The numbers are breaking records.
Right.
Wear 3 masks, and I'm like, I'm like, yeah, Dad, I'm wearing a mask. And I'm in the gym with like no mask on, and
Yeah. That's and Florida's wide, or I guess Texas is now wide open again, right?
Texas is wide open. Even when I was down there, when me and Austin were down there, it was pretty wild. We were like, walking around like the bar and the club scenes, and we're kind of just walking and peeping in, and kind of just doing some sightseeing. There were hundreds of people packed in a building, no mask on or anything. There were no safety precautions at all.
That's wild, man. That's we're masked up fully, but I mean restaurants still open. Restaurants never really closed. Like for a couple weeks they did.
Okay.
But, so I mean it's I guess we're kind of spoiled up here. It's pretty nice. So
that's good. Yeah. Thank God. Yeah. Down here in LA was just everything like just started to kind of open back up, like outdoor dining, but it sucked down here for a minute. I was like, I got to get away. I got to go somewhere. And
I feel like there was a giant exodus from California, just from what I've read and seen, right? Like,
yeah. A lot of people moved to Texas, Tennessee. I had some friends move to Tennessee, and just,
So what's the deal with I've wanted to ask this. You live in California, so you'll know most likely the tax situation, because I hear that a lot of people are moving out of California to Texas because there's like, what is the tax? Do you want to explain that, or do you know?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just a high tax. There's high taxes out here.
And is that income tax, or is that like sales tax, or
both? Yeah, both. Yeah, sales tax is high out here, especially in the area that I'm in. I want to say it's pretty high up there in like the 10 or 12% ish
for sales tax.
Yeah, I think.
So I live in
might even be higher than that.
BC is really high tax as well. It's really similar to California, except just a lot colder. It's got that whole West Coast vibe. But then what like for income tax, like what percent are you guys paying? I know it depends on your pay grade, right? But
it depends on the bracket. I think I'm in the 30s right now.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's up there. They take a decent out, and thank God I was on 1099 last year, so I had a lot of write-offs and stuff like that, so it kind of worked in my favor. But
what's 1099? Sorry.
Oh, 1099 is like where they don't take taxes out right away. So there's like
Oh,
W-2 and
gotcha.
then 1099. Yeah. So yeah, so pretty much they don't, you're just getting money right away instead of them taking taxes out.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So 30%, that's similar to BC where I am. Yeah. It's about 30% as well. But it's,
Yeah.
it's kind of the nicest spot in Canada is like Vancouver, Victoria, like British Columbia and whole. And I guess it's
Mhm.
sort of the same as the States. Like California is probably one of the nicer places, right? So I
Yeah,
guess you're
yeah, I
like
would say
you're paying for that essentially, I
yeah.
guess. Yeah.
Yeah, it was so funny when I came out here in Florida. You could buy a huge house for 300,000, 400,000. Very nice
Oh my
spot in a nice
God.
gated community. When I
Yeah.
came out here, everything was like in the sevens, eights, millions. It's like
That's here as well. Like
yeah,
suburb areas, a house is, 600 to $1 million for just like a 1970s like fixer upper.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. It's like you find a
Crazy.
shack for like you can't. I'm sure I don't even think you could find anything for like three. I mean, you find like a little 600, 900 square foot, condo out here, apartment type of thing for like 300,000, 400,000.
So about the same pricing, except Canadian dollars, so it's a bit cheaper. But yeah, I mean, yeah,
Yeah, it's
similar. Yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's funny. So when they moved to Texas, like, what are we talking? I'm really curious just about the whole tax situation. Like, what is their income tax in Texas? Like, how much are they actually saving?
Yeah, I mean, I would say probably a decent amount. I don't know exactly, but to kind of put this in reference, I have a buddy of mine that owns a pretty big company. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry about that.
no, it's
I
all
don't know
good.
if it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're good. You're good.
Um, so yeah, there was a call coming in.
Oh yeah,
So for instance, my buddy has a couple pretty large businesses spread throughout the United States, and he has one out here in LA. And they were renting out properties out here, and their accountant said, if you sign another lease, you're gonna have to start paying California taxes. So they're literally going back and forth from Florida to here, and they're living in like a really nice hotel. Like they have
right,
like,
right.
yeah, it's like their whole suite that they have that they're just like renting out 6 months at a time, type of thing. So they're
Interesting.
like, yeah, he's like, we're not paying California taxes to become a resident out here. He's like, it's ridiculous.
Oh, that's
So
crazy. Are you a sports fan at all? Do you like sports or?
I'm not, to be honest, I haven't been
Okay,
keeping up with it over the years. I
fair
was,
enough.
Tampa won the Super Bowl. I was there that weekend.
Oh yeah,
Um,
that'd be cool. Yeah.
yeah, so that was pretty cool. But I'm not really too big of a sports guy.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a big football fan. I'm a huge Dallas Cowboys fan, as weird as that is. Like a
Are
Canadian
you
dude,
really?
I'm a diehard Dallas
How,
Cowboys
how,
fan.
how'd that happen?
My dad, for whatever reason, back in, I guess, like 80s and 90s, just became a huge Cowboys fan. And then I was born into it. So I just
Oh,
grew up
nice.
always watching, like every Sunday with my dad watching the games. And yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
we have a cowboy, like at my parents' house, they have a big Dallas Cowboys flag in the backyard. Like
Oh,
it's
that's
it's
awesome.
super funny. Yeah, you
Yeah.
know, just being in Canada, but yeah, that's funny. So yeah, tell me more about your podcast. Like I haven't. Yeah, tell me
Yeah,
more about
yeah. So
that. Yeah.
we started it maybe about a year and a half ago, going on almost 2 years. Recovery based kind of theme podcast. We kind of label it as like not your average recovery podcast.
Right.
So it's not all about like 12 steps or being in program. We have a lot of variety on there, I would say.
Yeah.
From therapists to people that utilize cannabis in their recovery to people that are on methadone maintenance.
Right.
So we kind
Right.
of bring just a little variety, even though me and my partner Evan, we're the host and the co-host of it. We're completely clean and sober, but we always like to get other people's opinions and because it might be helpful. We've had people,
Yeah.
family members on there before with Al-Anon and other 12-step things like that.
Interesting. Yeah. What do you think about smoking weed when in recovery?
So I actually used to work for a treatment center, a drug and alcohol treatment center down here that allowed them to smoke weed.
Yeah.
I think the way they had it laid out was they just let the client smoke weed, which I don't think was a great thing.
Right.
Because they were just coming in stoned and not getting much out of the program.
Mm.
But I think if you use it the right way, it can be beneficial, just like any type of prescription medication, with any type of, Suboxone, which is like a medication for, withdrawal symptoms, but also like cravings.
Right.
You could abuse, I think you could abuse anything, but I think there's not one route that, that it's, you know, one route's not going to work for everybody, I don't think.
Fair enough.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so what did you, if you don't mind me asking, like, what did you struggle with, like, specifically with your like drug and alcohol addiction? Like,
Yeah. Mainly my thing was cocaine, Xanax, and Adderall and alcohol.
that's a
So that was,
combo.
that was my combo of everything. So
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
literally, you know, that's kind of what I utilized to like cope. And there's like PTSD and trauma and all that shit that came with that. And I was just a wild
Yeah.
child, you know, growing up,
Yeah.
you know, having kids at a young age and just
Oh,
doing
I
all the
can't
wrong
imagine,
things.
man. Yeah, I can. I just turned 30 and yeah, I don't have any kids, but I mean, like, even right now, I'm like, oh, I could see myself having some kids now. Like, I'm kind of just getting to that age at 30, right?
Yeah. Just getting to that age.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought I wanted, you know, more kids, but I'm still like, you know, kind of up in the air about that. And,
Yeah.
you know, it's a lot, you know, so, you know, kind of just running, you know, I was running amok and just, you know, just doing the wrong thing. So that was kind of what, you know, what brought me to my knees. That's what brought me to recovery, to treatment, you know, and I didn't understand addiction or the disease of addiction, as they
Right.
call it. You know, I was very naive in that sense. I just thought I was going to go to treatment for 30 days, come back, get all my court stuff handled, and be done with it. You know, go back to drinking and partying and, you know, normal stuff. But I'm very blessed and grateful that I like stayed out here. You know, I had no family out here. I was 18 when I came out here. I didn't, you know, it was a humbling experience, you know. So I always say that this is a life that I didn't want or deserve. I didn't deserve this shit, you know, 8 years ago. It's like, you know, blessings came along the way. It took time and work and blood, sweat, and tears in this thing.
Yeah, well, good for you, first of all, man. That's awesome.
Thank you.
For me personally, I've never had a problem. I'm not a big drinker. I've done some drugs, but I like alcohol, drugs, they make me feel terrible. So I think that was kind of a saving grace for me, because I do have that addictive personality, but even like drinking, while I'm drinking, I feel shitty and I'm like, I just want to stop drinking. So it's a funny thing for me. Like, I think I'm kind of lucky that way. Like, not a big drinker. I'll still drink once in a while, but I mean, yeah, it wasn't
not to the extent or the excess.
Yeah, I recently dated a girl who's in recovery. We're not together anymore, but I didn't drink the whole time I was with her. It was about 8-9 months, and it was like, I didn't care at all. It was like respecting her. I'm like, not going to get all fucked up around her, right? And
true.
Yeah, it was just so easy for me, right? But that's just because I don't like it, you know. So I can see, you know, my vice was the gambling thing, right? Which I, you know, got really over my head with. But
everybody has their crutch, man. It's like it could you know, happen in, you know, different ways, shapes, and forms. With GA, do you guys work like a 12-step program, or do you?
Yeah, there's a step program. It's very similar. I've seen a lot of the AA meetings through my ex, who I was with. I've seen a lot of her, like, joined a lot of her meetings and stuff like that, and like the open meetings. And it's really similar. It's similar, but it's similar like structure, but it's obviously a completely different subject.
Completely different.
But very similar.
Same thing with like Debtors Anonymous. I know they have like programs for people. Sorry? It's people that are just like in debt, and like they just keep it's called Debtors Anonymous, and they have like, from my understanding, I've had a few friends that went to it. It's like they have like a whole like plan to like get out of financial debt, and like, you know, it's like another fellowship of like-minded people, you know, and just one helping another, I guess, is really what it boils down to.
I'm surprised I haven't heard about that, because like in GA, obviously, like the biggest, it's not so much a physical destruction, it's a financial destruction, right? So it's funny I haven't heard of that, but yeah, that's actually a good thing.
There's a lot of different 12-step programs. There's even Lip Balm Anonymous. Really? You gotta check that out. Google Lip Balm Anonymous, and it like,
oh my God.
I thought it was a joke at first, but it's actually a real thing.
That's crazy.
It's like, do you apply more than 3 times a day? You know?
I'm gonna get a message from some lip balm addict now.
I know, right?
You were laughing at that. It's real.
I know, right? 100%.
So how did you find? Are you dating right now, or do you have a girlfriend?
I have a fiance.
Fiance. So how was that? Did you meet her once you were sober? Did you meet her while you were real? Like, how did that work?
So I actually met her because we both work in the treatment industry.
Gotcha.
So I was a case manager years ago. And she went to come pick up a client from my facility that I was working at. And it's funny how it kind of lays out, but like there was usually like one guy from this facility that we used to work with that would come pick up these, the clients and bring them to another facility. Right. And so I was like, I don't want to meet him again. I've seen him a million times. I'm like, I'm just going to bring this girl's stuff out and they can take it down. And then I see this pretty girl in the lobby. And, so I was like, oh, I'll help you bring the stuff down. I'm like super friendly now. And so I brought her stuff down, and it was like right when I first got business cards, first time ever in life having business cards.
You were flexing with the card. Yeah.
Yeah, I was flexing. This is like 5 years ago. And I was like, give me a call if you need anything. And I was dating somebody at that point in my life. That was just like not a horrible relationship, but just not a great relationship, I would say.
Yeah. And I've been through a few. I get it. Yeah.
yeah. I think those few pop up every, in the past once in a while, but, so, I started working for her bosses at her facility maybe a year or two later. And then I was actually staying at one of her friend's house in between the time I was breaking up with this girl. And long story short, she would come over and hang out with her friend while I was like sleeping on the couch, essentially.
Right.
And
picked up a girl while sleeping on the couch.
Sleeping on the couch. Wow. Yeah. It was a real rough time. And I got out of this relationship. I moved out of her house or her parents' house. And it was just a rough situation, So then we just kind of started talking and became friends and started dating. And then here we are almost 3 years. Yeah, 3 years later, almost.
Wow. And was she in recovery as well, or did she have that? Or
Yeah. She's in recovery as well. Yeah.
I think that's go ahead. Sorry.
Oh yeah, no, sorry. Yeah, she's actually from Florida too, so it was kind of ironic that we met 3,000 miles away. Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah. I've always wondered that, like, even for myself personally, like how different people react different ways to hearing, like, oh, whether it's like you said, alcohol, gambling, sex, whatever it is, like someone who hasn't been through that, there is a bit of a disconnect, and that's not their fault, but it's cool you met someone who understands, if that's the right word, right?
Yeah. Like, who knows it. Yeah.
Who knows it. And did you find it was hard to, I guess different for you, but she also went through it, but for like the trust, I made a video on this actually, but like the trust and earning someone's trust when they know your past, has that ever been like an issue for you? Or
yeah, definitely. I think with any addict or alcoholic, it's a lot of the times we have like low self-esteem or low self-worth, and we've done shit in our past, and a lot of insecurities arise and codependency issues. So there's a lot of like co-occurring stuff that I think comes along with being in a relationship when two people are kind of in recovery. And even people that are not in recovery, they have controlling issues, or they're manipulative, or they or emotionally abusive, or whatever it is. So I think there was some luggage that we carried on to our relationship, but overall we've been pretty well. I think COVID was a little rough, in the relationship standpoint. But, you work through it. You learn how to communicate better. You just learn how to do better the next day than you did the day before.
Every day is a new day. You just got to grow, right? Like that's
100%. Yeah. In any area of life, I think is really that the key. It's like, oh shit, I screwed up in this area of my life today. How do I do better tomorrow? So.
Yeah. And I want to jump back on something you said, the codependency thing. Do you think that's, I've never thought about that. Do you think that's, because I found myself in the past being very codependent to people as well, and very like, maybe even needy at sometimes, right? Like at some points, right? Like, do you think that is like a common trait with someone who's, been through an addiction? Is that?
Yeah, I definitely do. I mean, I see it all the time. I've been working in the treatment industry the last 7 years, almost 8 years. So, I think we're always looking for that like instant gratification, right? So it's always, I see a lot of rehab romances, as we call it, people getting together in drug and alcohol treatment settings, and it's never a good fit. It's like, two broken people can't fix each other.
Yeah.
But yet they always kind of try to, and I did it myself too. It's like, you always want somebody to lean on, or have that validation that you're kind of missing or lacking, so to say.
Interesting. Yeah. And I guess one of the things in AA is you're not supposed to date within the first year of recovery. Is that, do you agree with that? Is that, I don't know if I agree with that. So, and I've never been through anything like, well, I've had my own issues, but it's more AA thing. I think that it's like this staple, like don't date within your first year of recovery or early.
Yeah. I think that's definitely, a lot of people have different opinions on it. I say sprinkle a little, love on your recovery. That's kind of always one of my old sponsors used to tell me that, sprinkle a little bit of love. But I think it could definitely be, detrimental, especially if you're not in the right state of mind, or, you're just looking for that next running partner, or, somebody to kind of, go off with, or, it really, I think what it boils down to is you're taking the focus off of yourself and the time where you're supposed to be internalizing and redeveloping yourself, really.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So
That totally makes sense. Sort of what happened with me before I had, a few of my close family members knew I had a problem. I was kind of in like a denial stage still. I started dating a girl who was in recovery actually, and she didn't know about anything going on with me. And then I finally just like I saw her go through AA. She was kind of the motivation for me, actually. The relationship didn't work out, but I got a lot out of it for that just alone. Right. But I kind of saw how open she was, and like, going to her meetings and just like being very open and like proud of it almost. Right. So then, one day I kind of told her, I'm like, hey, I won't get into details, but I fucked up. I did this, and like, I want to go to GA, and I want to just like, I'm going to stop. And I've actually stopped since that day. I've stopped like completely, never.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah,
that's
which
amazing.
is
Congratulations.
But it was like so hard for her because she was going through her own stuff still, and it was too much. Like she just couldn't, and I don't blame her. She couldn't take the weight on of like someone else's recovery as well. Like it was, So
it's
I understand that. Yeah.
It's definitely a lot, especially if both your guys, you struggled with one thing, she struggled with another, and kind of coming together. It's like, it's difficult sometimes. It is in any type of relationship, especially if, you guys are both trying to improve and move forward with your life personally, her life personally, and definitely a difficult thing to maneuver,
Definitely. Yeah, relationships are tough enough as it is, I mean,
I know,
when you throw in a bunch of external shit, it can be tough, right? Yeah.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. You throw in that one little thing, and then it's, snowball effect sometimes.
Yeah, 100%. So what else do you do? So you got the podcast, you work at the recovery center. Is that recovery center? Is that?
Recovery center. Yeah. Treatment center.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I handle all their, marketing and admissions and advertising. So I kind of oversee all of it,
right.
Which is just, I've gained a lot of knowledge being in this industry for, going on 8 years. So it's like.
And is that how you met your boy Little Brows, or?
Yeah. That's how I met him about 5 years ago. Yeah, so it was amazing to see his transformation and progress through life, and I've always been like a huge supporter of him. And, even before the King of the Sting stuff, he was always writing. I'm like, bro, you have a gift, you have a talent.
Yeah.
And, like, you just got to like, put it in, So I always joke with him, and we always kind of have this ongoing joke that I'm like his acting manager,
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, man, I'm trying to book you this. And I always, I'm just like a hustler. I don't stop working. So I'm always trying to think of different avenues to like help people out. And, whatever works, and, just make things happen, man. But it's awesome to see him. And he just dropped a new song too.
I just checked it out. Yeah.
It's so good, man. I was fire. I was listening to that for a month, and I'm like, you need to drop this right now. Like, this is going to be amazing, So.
Yeah, he's dope, man. I was listening to the King and the Sting from like pretty much day one weekly.
Oh, really?
And then, so I love that show. Like, I love Theo and Brendan, like have just been a fan of them for a long time. And so I remember like watching that episode, the white rapper like contest, and I actually rap a bit too. So I actually submitted to that. I never got played. Like
really?
I'm like trash compared to him. It was more just for like the jokes, right?
Yeah, but, just to try it out. Yeah.
But I remember watching those like really intently, like, oh, is my video gonna get played, right? And then when his popped on, I'm like, oh yeah, this guy is fire. Yeah,
he's fucking unreal, man. Yeah. It gives me goosebumps when I hear it, man. He's got he's working on a few stuff right now, and it's just amazing. Like, just the talent. Like, I don't know how he does it. I just don't know.
Yeah.
How he does it.
I think he's gonna do well with it, to be honest. I
hope so.
I really do. Yeah. he's got a, he's networked really well through that now. It seems like that he's going to be fine for sure. Yeah.
No, it's just awesome, man. It's just, he's just like one of those like success stories in life that just, started from the bottom and like is working his way up, and just it's phenomenal to see.
I fucking love it, man. I love people who, more than people who've just like been successful, like, kind of had the straight path. I love people who, what they went like this, they went to the bottom and then they got even higher, like,
yes,
there's nothing better, man. I respect those people more than anyone in the world. Like people who
100%
been up, they've lost it all and then got it back again. Like, oof.
It's not easy to do, man. It takes a different breed.
Man. Yeah, it does. Yeah.
It takes a different breed to like just keep up that pace of life, especially if you're doing something you love. And we're always kind of BSing in the office, and I'm like, I throw raps at him all the time, and I'm like, kind of just bullshitting around. And so, and I gave him one line for one of his songs. It was like literally 2 words.
Yeah.
And I go, make sure you give me credits on that. I want a royalty in the next 10 years,
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, it's awesome, man. It's really good stuff.
I should lay down a couple fucking fire verses, send them over the browse. Hey man, you're on the pod. Throw me on. Let's go.
Throw it on, man. Throw it on there. Yeah. I'm trying to get him on my podcast. I think we're gonna make it happen. It's been like busy, just back to back, and this craziness,
Yeah, when he was on mine, I was asking him some questions or whatever, and they were kind of generic questions, and I was like, "Oh, sorry, man, for asking." He's like, "Oh no, man, this is like some of the first stuff I've ever done." He's like, "I haven't really like done too many interviews or anything." I'm like, "Oh yeah, fair enough." He's like, "I don't give a shit. I'll answer anything."
Yeah.
He was great.
Chill like that.
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah, man. Super chill like that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man. Yeah, it was really good chatting to you, man. This is cool. I'd love to do it again sometime, even jump on your pod or something like that. It'd be
we're trying to figure out my boy's kind of against like Zoom and doing it.
It does kind of suck.
All the editing.
Yeah.
So like I understand he doesn't want to take on even more because like we're filming content now and stuff like that. But I think it'd be cool. Maybe we'll do like some like Instagram live thing or something.
Fuck yeah.
Do it on my podcast and your channel as well, man. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool, man. Yeah. But yeah, man, it was super cool getting to know you here. We'll stay in touch, and thanks for jumping on.
Yeah. I appreciate you asking me, brother. Let's definitely stay in contact, and we'll chat later.
Yeah, sounds good, man.
Sounds good, brother. Have a good one, man.
Yeah, you too, man.
All right, later.